Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, thank you so much for joining us today at Desde el Capitolio.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
Commissioner, tell us what were your plans coming here to Washington, D.C.?
Well, I was requested to come from Bobby Kennedy Jr. To come up in a MAHA celebration, the new food pyramid. We were, part of that group, part of the MAHA team. You might wonder why a Texas cowboy would be on the MAHA team, but I actually feed 5 million school children every day in the state of Texas. So nutrition's one of my largest departments at my agency.
Mm-hmm. And what's the change you've seen during these years? What was like a public meal in Texas like?
Well, in Texas, I've been doing this 10 years before MAHA was, the new buzzword. So when I started, our schools were serving 0 locally grown products to our children. Instead of having healthy kids, we had healthy trash cans. Food was terrible. So we started a farm to school program, and last year our schools bought and served $300 million worth of locally grown products. No added dyes, no preservatives, never flash frozen, not ultra processed, cooked from scratch. Instead of going in the trash can, they ate it. And so we think we're making a difference. So that's how I got involved. And
has the Texas Department of Agriculture been involved with these new guidelines that they outlined? We weren't in the day-to-day decisions, but we've developed a very strong relationship with Bobby Kennedy and his team, developing the new guidelines, yes. And I heard President Trump also trusts you as the man in Texas. That's it. He calls me Trump's man in Texas, but I've been with him from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to sit down and talk with you because you, Commissioner Millen, have congratulated personally to President Trump for designating Mexican drug cartels as terrorist organizations, and you have also supported his willingness to deploy U.S. forces into Mexico to eradicate them. Now, from your position at the Texas Department of Agriculture and your work closely with farm workers, what have you personally witnessed that most Americans have not really seen or have heard on the news about this issue? Well, a little of my background. Prior to me being Commissioner of Agriculture, I was a lawmaker, and I was chairman of the Homeland Security and Public Safety Committee. So I've seen firsthand what the cartels do on the Texas-Mexican border, how ruthless they are, how they're just we had to put gunboats on the river to stop the splashdowns and stop the drugs from coming in. And when I was the lawmaker, we weren't getting any help from the federal government, so Texas had to take it on. This was under Governor Rick Perry. It was, Operation Rio Grande, and so we took on the cartels ourselves. So I have a relationship with the border sheriffs, those ranchers, especially now that I'm the ag commissioner. I've seen the devastation and the corruption and the ruthlessness of these cartels. So that's why I'm so elated. Maybe I'm a little closer to it than most people because I've seen it firsthand. What's the worst that you've seen that you can share with our audience? Oh, I wouldn't even want to share the really bad stuff that I've seen. The Colombian neckties, the people put in acids in barrels of acid. The list goes on and on. They're animals. They're very ruthless. And Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, and now talking about Mexican cooperation, she has ruled out any U.S. military intervention on Mexican soil. Even after her call yesterday with President Trump, she says that the government has delivered results for the United States, and somehow the Trump administration agrees, and they have acknowledged at least that some of that progress has been made. Now, from your perspective on the ground, how do you evaluate Mexico's real efforts on this? Well, I use something called cowboy logic. I believe what I see and what I hear, not what they say. Mm-hmm. So I will reference President Sheinbaum when she condemned President Trump's actions in Venezuela.
and said he should have never gone in, and she defended Maduro. That tells me that she's aligned herself with the cartels and the people that support Maduro. I mean, that was just appalling that she would attack our president for the freedom that he brought to Venezuela. So with that in mind, I think her saying that, you know, they're doing a good job with the cartels, that's all just baloney. It's not true. So the cartels are a real threat, especially now that we've cut off their cash cow. You know, they're not able to traffic people anymore. We've shut the immigration down. They were making millions, if not billions, of dollars as coyotes, you know, escorting people across Mexico into the United States, and that has all stopped. So now they're having to you know, go to other means, you know, for their income, and it's drugs, mainly drugs.
So you're saying that even with the illegal crossing numbers going basically to zero, there's still a big threat on drugs? Are they becoming more aggressive, the cartels, with this?
Well, you can just go back and watch the footage of Donald Trump blowing the drug boats out of the water. Yes, it's still happening. They're not able to get them across as easily because they don't have the drug mules, because we're watching. They can't force the immigrants to carry a backpack full of drugs across, because they're not coming across either. So they're getting more creative, but the drugs are they're still trying to get the drugs in. Don't think they've stopped. They have not. How
are they becoming more creative? What are the ways?
One way is tunnels, trucks. We're finding new and inventive ways to, you know, smuggle across in automobiles and trucks. They're, you know, flying it in, you know, trying to get under the radar, making not even landing, just dropping the drugs as they come across, you know, into remote areas. So they're pretty innovative. They're still getting their drugs in. It's become a lot more difficult under Donald Trump, though.
And what have you heard about Mexican officials from the other side? You work closely with them too. What are they saying now?
Well, to go back from the very beginning, we partnered with the Mexican military, and we let their elite forces come up to the United States and trained with our Navy SEALs and Rangers. And they went back to Mexico, and they were recruited by the crime families. And these trained killers that we train went to work for the crime families, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And eventually, these people that we train kill the crime families, and that's who the cartel is, are these trained assassins that we train for military you know, projects around the world. Have taken over the crime families and become the cartel. So they're very ruthless, they're heartless, they have no feeling for you know, American lives or the lives of the Mexican people.
Wow, that's really something very hard to believe if you don't see it. Have you seen, like, people that...
I learned all this about 15 years ago when I was chairman of Homeland Security. That's where my knowledge comes from. It's not you know, widely known, right, but having been on the inside, I've seen it.
Exactly. And if direct U.S. military action inside Mexico does not happen, what other strategies do you support to stop drug cartels?
Well, you know, everything that Donald Trump is doing, I support. You know, direct intervention is the next step, and I do believe he will do that. Whether he gets the cooperation of President Sheinbaum or not, I think he's going. It's coming. He will hit, and he will hit hard. Other than that, it's mainly trade sanctions like tariffs. You know, to put a financial squeeze on Mexico to do something about this problem. You will probably see more of that unless we see some cooperation from Mexico. And I think we possibly will get some cooperation out of Mexico over this. They just can't not, you know, do something to help us. They have to.
Okay, so do you think Mexican president, the Mexico government will finally, like, don't say anything, don't counterattack this measure?
Well, they're what we call between a rock and a hard place. You know, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. So they're going to have to do something at some point. They've got to stand up for the Mexican people. They just do.
Exactly. And now talking about direct impact in Hispanics in Texas. Rural Texas includes thousands of Hispanics, ranchers, farmers, farm workers who live and work right in the middle of this crisis. What are they telling you? What are their concerns?
Well, for the most part, they're very happy with the Trump administration. Prior to that, ranchers couldn't even go on their own property for fear of their own lives. You know, they had property stolen, ransacked, crops destroyed, livestock, fences cut, livestock out on the roads, homes that have been on those ranches down there for many, many generations. They couldn't live in them anymore. They had to move to town. When they go to the ranch, they'd have to have someone go with them, because if they got out to open the gate, someone would jump out of the brush and steal their truck, and they had to be armed. None of that is happening now. They feel safe. They're able to go back to their farms and their ranches and do the normal family work that they've been doing for generations. So they're very, very happy about that. To have their life, basically they got their lives back under Donald Trump.
Exactly. And when it comes to retaliation against Mexican officials, I was really curious about this, because you have said that many Mexican officials privately want the cartels removed but are afraid of retaliation. So can you give us examples of what kind of retaliations they're facing?
And we talked about this earlier, but the cartels are very, very ruthless. You go against a cartel, you may not ever be seen again. Or worse yet, some of your family members may not be seen again. So, and that's just how they play through fear and intimidation, and that's what you're dealing with when you deal with these cartels.
And you said that cartels are also conducting a full-scale war on Texas and the United States. So can you describe how serious this war has become?
Well, I haven't seen any of the cartels waving the white flag and say, we give up, we're not going to fight back. We don't know how they're going to respond, because we haven't responded yet. We've yet to see what President Trump has in store. Once that happens, then we will see how the cartels respond. But it's not going to be pretty on either side, I promise you. It's going to get a little rough.
And from the legislature side, do you think they have enough support from both parties about this specific issue?
That's it will be seen. We will know. I think President Trump certainly has American people behind him. Maybe not the leftists and the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, but even a lot of the mainstream Democrats, I think, are supporting Donald Trump and what he's done to clean up the border, to shut down the illegal immigration, to stop the drugs from coming into the United States. He has wide support on that aspect of it.
One of them was back then Henry Cuellar. I think he was one of the loudest voices in the Democratic Party talking about that.
Yeah.
But in your perspective, are there more legislators that are doing that are actually supporting this actions that Trump is taking against the cartels?
Henry Cuellar was a friend of mine. I've known him for 26 years, I guess. We actually served in the House together as lawmakers. And he's been very vocal about that. He was kind of always out there, and and the reason that he was vocal against the cartels and what was happening with the mass immigration is he lives it. He lives on the border. His family suffered from that. He saw what was happening, and he went against his own party, to make it known that we needed to do something. So even though we're in different political parties, I admire him for standing up for what is right for his people.
So do you think there should be more legislators actually experiencing, because sometimes there are groups of Democrats going to the border, right? But do you think you have to actually be there or live there to understand?
Well, my hope would be that they would do what's right in God's eye instead of what's right in the political parties, recommendations. And we can get out into the weeds on that, whether it be cartels or abortion or any other host of things. But we have one person to please, and that's God. If we please Him, normally everything else falls in place.
Now, Commissioner, I want to change topics to the new word, screwworm.
Okay.
You recently warned about this screwworm. What exactly is the new world screwworm, and what risk does it pose?
So the new world screwworm is a fly that lays its eggs on open wounds of mammals. In Texas, we have over 200 types of mammals, so everything is susceptible to the screwworm larva, including humans. We have human cases. Unlike blowflies that eat decaying flesh, roadkill, the maggots, if you want to, that's maybe not a very savory term. The screwworm eats living flesh, live flesh. It's something like out of a horror movie. It's almost, but it's a very nasty insect. They will literally eat you alive if they get into your body. So we don't want this, especially to come to Texas. It could devastate a $30+ billion livestock industry. Also, wildlife, we're subject to it, and they're a lot harder to treat than livestock. We can treat our livestock and save them in most cases if we catch it early. But it's hard to capture and treat, deer or other wildlife. So we're watching it really close. We have been unsuccessful in stopping the advance of the screwworm. The flies they were confined to southern Mexico, but as of last week, the flies have been found within 200 miles of the Texas border, which is very, very disturbing because we thought we had it. And it's happening in the wintertime when the flies are least active. So if we have them within 200 miles during the wintertime, I suspect we'll probably have a full infestation next summer. And I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But it looks like that's what's going to happen because we don't have any remedy. The sole remedy that is being sought is sterile flies. They only live about 3 weeks, so they mate one time. But we don't have enough flies, and we're not going to have enough flies for 3 or 4 years. So it looks like we are setting ourselves up for a full-blown infestation of this pest.
And how can it be resolved? Is there any guarantee that the United States needs to send to ask Mexico or a cooperation between?
Well, me and my staff have had a couple of meetings with the Mexican government. As a matter of fact, I hosted the Mexican government and 11 Central American companies in my office about 3 weeks ago. And I showed them a fly bait, that they could put out this fly bait that would kill 90% of the screwworm flies. They hadn't heard about it. It was developed by the USDA. So they took my information back. If we could come up with a fly bait to eradicate the fly and not have to wait on the sterile flies to, manufacturing facilities to be built, we could stop this fly in its tracks and possibly eradicate it within the next 6 months.
Now, it seems that Texas has been under several threats because we have also heard about the mysterious seeds coming from China.
Yes.
So, can you give us a little briefing on what's happening there? Why mysterious seeds being sent from China?
I laugh, but it's not really funny. It's serious. These mystery seeds, they just show up in somebody's mailbox unsolicited. They didn't order them. They haven't ordered any seeds, and they're not labeled. We don't know what they are. I tell people, to call my agency, 1-800-TELL, TDA, TELL, TDA, 1-800-TELL-DDA, and we'll come pick them up. So we pick them up and we have them tested to see what they are. And a lot of them are invasive species, noxious weeds. Some of them have an unidentified liquid with them. That's very concerning. We don't know what that is. In a few cases, we've actually picked up plants, unidentified plants that have come in. So my fear is, my job is to protect the agriculture industry from any type of biohazards, any type of invasive species, plants, disease, viruses, bacteria, all of that. So we haven't, I don't want to alarm everybody, but it could just as easily be a new COVID variant in that package, or some kind of bacteria or virus or anything that would be detrimental to the American public health. So we recommend don't open the package, call us, let us come pick them up, and we'll dispose of them properly.
How many cases have been reported in Texas alone?
Well, in the last few months, we've picked up over 1,100 packages, and so I don't know how many we didn't pick up. There's no way to know that. But so it's very serious. I want people need to know about it. And it seems that there's a common thread. The people that are being sent these seeds, for the most part, have been purchasing items through Temu, which is kind of the Chinese Amazon. Yeah. So do what you want to. I don't buy anything from Temu. I don't buy anything out of China. And this is another reason to question whether you need to be buying those products.
Is the White House aware of this threat? Is DHS doing any investigation behind this?
We actually had a lengthy meeting yesterday with Peter Navarro, who is an advisor to President Trump, and made him aware of the situation. So we will now be in daily contact with him and his office, letting them know what we pick up, how many, the locations, things like that.
So it could potentially, without alarming the audience, this mysterious seeds that we still don't know what's behind this and how they reach out, because they're not reaching out only to farmers. It's just a regular family.
It's housewives. It's anybody. It's usually just people that have ordered stuff, from China before, and it's direct ship. That's concerning because it's getting through our biosecurity program. We should be able to catch stuff like that in the mail, but we're not.
So, do you think this could be used as a weapon, maybe?
I don't think it's being used now as a weapon, but it could be a test of our biosecurity and see, at later they may do it again and then have the, a virus in it, or anthrax, or ricin, or cholera, or hoof and mouth disease, or any number of biologicals that can't be seen with the naked eye could be in one of those packages, and somebody opens it up and inhales, we've got it. It's in America then. So it is concerning.
So between the New World screwworm and the mysterious China seeds, what do you think is the biggest threat right now?
I think the biggest threat to America is our agriculture trade deficit. People have never heard of that. But America has always been the breadbasket of the world. We grow enough food for ourselves and, a lot of other people. First time in my lifetime, America is buying more food than we're selling. We are now dependent on foreign nations to feed us. That's a big problem, because when we get dependent on another nation to feed us, that's when our freedoms are in jeopardy. So we're trying real hard to turn that around. The Biden administration left us with a $50 billion agriculture trade deficit. We're whittling that away. We've got it down to 37, but we need to get it to 0, and we need a trade surplus like we've always had in the past. So thank goodness to Donald Trump and his tariffs, we're getting there, and we're getting there rapidly. I think before the end of his administration, we will have closed that gap and eliminated the agriculture trade deficit. But that's the most dangerous thing of all the things out there, but no one talks about it.
How about Secretary Rawlings' role with the Department of Agriculture? Do you think her actions are helping?
Well, she's kind of had our hands tied until just recently. We didn't even have a U.S. trade representative at the USDA. She has that staff in now. She's still not fully staffed, but my department, we're not waiting on that. The Texas Department of Agriculture, we have 45 trade missions this next year coming up with foreign nations. Some of them outbound, some of them inbound, a mixture of both. So we're reaching out, and we're finding people to do business with besides China. We just finished up a trade opportunity with Taiwan, and they agreed to buy $10 billion additional agriculture products from the United States. So that's how we got it from 50 to 40 in one trade deal. So we'll continue to work down that path, and certainly work close with the USDA as they get they have a sub-agency called the Foreign Agriculture Service, FAS, and so those are deployed around the world, and so we need to get them back on mission. They got off mission under the last administration, and they did not sign not even one trade agreement in the 4 years under the Biden administration, none. So we've got to get them back on mission and help. They have got to help our farmers find new markets.
Thank you, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller. It was such a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.